Okay, welcome back. This is Dragon Song 12, continuing my series of Let's Plays on the Monkey Island games. Today we're starting Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. As you can see, again, I'm playing the Special Edition version, much for the same reason that I did this on the first game. The sound on my older copy just doesn't work anymore. But yeah, we're gonna just play the Special Edition and we're going to the old school graphics. So, is everybody here? Is everybody ready? Hit it! Alright, old school graphics, slow down the text speed because it's crazy fast. Well, 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 Guybrush Threepwood, you do turn up in the strangest places. Hi Elaine, do you think you could help me out? How did you get into this mess? It's kind of a long story. That's okay, I've got time. Well, it all started on Scab Island. Some of my admiring fans had pressured me into telling my LeChuck evaporating story once again. And we fade into the opening credits. You know, if you actually play the Special Edition version, you don't get these opening credits. And that's a darn shame, because, look, it has dancing monkeys. Why would you not want to include the dancing monkeys? I'm sorry, this just flies in the face of logic. Oh, Guybrush, they aren't hurting anybody. So, yeah, here we go. Monkey Island 2. This game improves on just about every single level over the original game. It has more complex graphics. It has more interesting puzzles. It has a more involved storyline. There's a lot of fans that would label this as the best game of the Monkey Island series, and I can't really fault them for that, because this is probably one of the best adventure games ever made. It's not my personal favorite, and there's a big reason for that, and we'll get to it. But this is pretty damn good, and I would not argue with anybody who tried to say this was the best game in the series, because it's excellent. This is also the only game of the series not to use the title convention, blank of Monkey Island. All the other games are titled that way. This is the only one that's different. Of course, when this game was made, that wasn't a convention. There was only one other game out. Oh, poor monkeys. So, you know, at the time it wasn't anything different, but now it kind of stands out because it's the only one that doesn't have a blank of Monkey Island title. And I kind of dig these little illustrations in the corner. Considering the number of pixels they're working with here, these are really complex. Oh, you know me, I love looking at the art. They look like they're hand-drawn. Well, they probably were, and then converted to pixels. But hey, it still looks really cool. Ah, the iMuse system, we'll get into that as well. I love the opening theme of Monkey Island. Project led by Ron Gilbert. Don't you forget it. Deep in the Caribbean, Scab Island. Looks like a scab, doesn't it? So I bust in the church and say, "Now you're in for it, you bilious bag of barnacle bait!" And then LeChuck cries, "Guybrush, have mercy! I can't take it anymore!" I think I know how he must have felt. Yeah, if I hear this story one more time, I'm gonna be crying myself. Don't you have any news stories? Well, actually, that's why I'm here on Scab Island. I'm on a whole new adventure. Growing a mustache? No, bigger than that. A beard? No, I'm in search of treasure. The biggest treasure of them all. A treasure so valuable and so well hidden that it haunts the dreams of every pirate on the seas. You mean Big Whoop? None other. Wow, they move their mouths a lot for Big Whoop. There's no treasure on Scab Island. Well, I didn't know that before. Now I'm trying to charter a ship and look someplace else. When I return, I'll have riches galore and a whole new story. Or he'll have died trying. Either way, we won't have to hear about LeChuck anymore. Ha! Those guys wouldn't know a good story even if they paid $50 for it. When I find Big Whoop, I'll become a legend among pirates for generations to come. If only I could charter a ship and get off this stinking island. Part 1, the Largo embargo. Yep, this continues the parts idea that the first game. It has much more detailed title screens, though. Loading. Alright. Oh, just real quick. I like that in the special edition, Guybrush doesn't really have a complete beard. Since people suggested several times in the dialogue that it's nothing more really than peach fuzz, but you can't really do that in, you know, pixels. So he has a beard in the pixels. Anyway, let's get this party started. Look at all the riches I have. Where do you think you're going, fancy pants? You ain't from these parts, are you? This here's a toll bridge. You gotta pay. Do you want a red herring? I can give you one. Let's see. Who's gonna make me, shorty? Tough guy, eh? Just picks him up. I love how expressive Guybrush is in this game. Haha, scream as loud as you want. There's no police on Scab Island. Then who eats the donuts and roughs up the transients? I roughs up what needs roughing up on this island. Hey, you're loaded! This is my lucky night. What's that expression? Wherever you go, on sea or on land, you can't ever hide from Largo LaGrand. I guess that's Largo of the Largo embargo. Tough town. I guess I should have got those traveler's checks. Well, here's another bit of trivia before we go on. You notice the music here. This town of Woodtick here has its own theme. What LucasArts employed here was something called the iMuse system, back before Apple was sticking a letter I in front of everything they made. And what it does is that each and every building within Woodtick has its own variation on the main Woodtick theme. And as you enter them, it fades from the main theme into the building theme. And this is done pretty regularly in games nowadays, but at the time it was really amazing, and I still personally am really impressed by it. The music is pretty nice, and they're all very different and very distinct. I just like to mention that because they didn't use it often. It was very expensive, and they didn't think anybody really noticed. So I just like to point out I noticed. Now you can notice too. Anyway, it's an adventure game, so as per the first game, let's get to talking to everybody. Hey there, buddy. Talk to Woodsmith. Ahem. Yeah? Nice apron. Are you some sort of chef? No, I'm a woodsmith. Which gives one of us an excuse for dressing funny. Ooh. So, what's the problem with that Largo guy? He really goes against my grain. Get it? Wood puns. I'd like to make an end table out of him. More wood puns. But I don't have the guts. With all my tools, I'm still unable to create the one thing that could do this island some good. Like an all-night tattoo parlor? Think big. No, like a voodoo doll of Largo LaGrand. Oh. Man, an all-night tattoo parlor would be awesome. So, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, a woodchuck could chuck no amount of wood since a woodchuck can't chuck wood. Okay then, but if a woodchuck could chuck and woodchuck some amount of wood, what amount of wood would a woodchuck chuck? Even if a woodchuck could chuck wood, and even if a woodchuck would chuck wood, should a woodchuck chuck wood? I bet you're all impressed by that. Or not. A woodchuck should chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood, as long as a woodchuck would chuck wood. I can't believe I'm actually reading all these, okay. Shut up. I'd like to look around a bit. Sure thing. I think that's enough of him for now. We know we got a woodcutter, or a woodsmith, or whatever. Anyway, to this boat. Yeah, hear it fade from one song into the other. Down we go! Again, down the hatch. And... spit! Excuse me. Yeah, boy! How's business? It's just terrible! No one ever comes down here anymore! Largo's got all my regulars spooked. You know, I can mix any drink there is. Make anything you could name. But I can't make the one thing that could really do this island some good. What's that? A voodoo doll of Largo LaGrand. I'm sensing a theme. Give me my usual, and put it in a real glass. Hey, I bet y'all need to see this. Close-up of spit. Splatter. Fork over the dough or you'll be serving Bloody Marys for a week. From your nose. That's all I have. Well, you'd better have more tomorrow. Or we might have to move this dump to a new location. Like, say, the bottom of the ocean. Ha ha ha! Boy, you just gave him all your money? I don't want to talk about it. Well, you're going to talk about it, because I'm an adventure gamer! Crack, please. Shaken, not stirred. Ha ha ha! Maybe you'd like a Shirley Temple instead. I'm old enough. Look at my beard. Ha! That's the oldest trick in the book. Tell you what, I'll let you have some near grog. It doesn't have any alcohol in it. But it's just as nasty smelling and foul tasting as that stuff grown-ups drink. Right on. Oh wait, what am I saying? I just sold the last of it to Kate. Sorry. Rats. Of course, if you have some ID... Must have left my ID in my other pants. You'll have to do better than that. No ID, no service. You have more to say to me. I demand conversation. So who's this Kate person? Ah, the courageous Captain Kate Capsize. Tough as steel, sharp as nails. She rents her ship out. Does some freelance pirating. Her only loyalty is to the highest bidder. Don't get on her bad side. Well, that's nice. Want to see my scar? Depends. Is there a good story behind it? As a matter of fact, there is. It's a story of the ghost pirate LeChuck and his gruesome demise. Heard it. This is the one where he drinks too much root beer and burps so hard he explodes, right? Kinda. Not exactly. Frankly, I don't care much for stories that promote moderation in drinking. I do have a business to run, you know. Nice place you have here. Well, see ya.